In this video, we will learn about the x-intercept and y-intercept of a line. The x and y-intercepts are the points at which the line intersects with the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-intercept is the intersection with the x-axis. Therefore, it is the x value when y is equal to 0. So to solve for the x-intercept, we simply make y a 0 or equal to 0 and then solve for x. On the other hand, the y-intercept is the intersection with the y-axis, so it is the y value when x is equal to 0. So to solve for the y-intercept, we simply make x a 0 or make x equal to 0 and then solve for y. In case you get confused with these two, just remember that x-intercept is an x value. So to solve for it, you have to equate y to 0. Y-intercept is a y value. So to solve for the y-intercept, you have to make x equal to 0. Let's consider an example. Let's say we have to find the x-intercept and y-intercept of the line y equals 2x plus 5. For the x-intercept, we have to, this is an x value by the way, so we have to make y a 0. So this y is equal to 0, so 0 equals, then we copy the right side, 2x plus 5. To solve for x, we have to isolate this x term on one side, so we can transpose this term to the left side. It becomes negative 2x and then copy 5. To completely isolate x, we have to divide both sides of the equation by negative 2. So we get, on the left side, we get the x-intercept, and on the right side, we have 5 divided by negative 2, so that is negative 5 halves, and that is the x-intercept. For the y-intercept, this is a y value, remember? So we have to make x equal to 0. So y, we copy y, then equals 2x. X is equal to 0, so we have 2 times 0, and then plus 5. Now to solve for y, yes, y is already isolated, so we just have to simplify the right side. Since this term 2 times 0 is 0, y-intercept is equal to 5. Another way of finding the intercept, well, at least the y-intercept of a line, is using the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. Let's remember, to write the equation of a line into the slope-intercept form, we simply isolate y on one side in order to get this expression. So y is equal to mx plus b. In this expression, b, or the constant term, is the y-intercept. Again, b, which is the constant term, is the y-intercept. For example, let's say we have to find the y-intercept of the line y equals negative 3x minus 8. So this equation of a line is already in the slope-intercept form because y is isolated. Now we know that the constant term of this equation is the y-intercept. Therefore, the y-intercept is negative 8. Let's consider some problems. What are the x and y-intercepts of the line 2y is equal to 4x minus 6? For the x-intercept, this is an x value, so we have to make y a 0. So we have 2 times y, that is 2 times 0, equals, then we copy the right side. To solve for x, we have to isolate this term, the x term, so we can transpose negative x to the other side. Therefore, we have 4x equals 6, or negative 6 on the other side becomes positive 6. To completely isolate x, we have to divide both sides of the equation by 4. So on the left side, we have x, or the x-intercept. And on the right side, we have 6 divided by 4. To simplify, we have 3 halves. To solve for the y-intercept, this is a y value, so we make x a 0. So we have 2y, we copy the left side, equals 4x. That becomes 4 times 0, and then minus 6. Well, y is already isolated, the y term is already isolated, so we simplify the right side. This one becomes 0, so on the right side we have negative 6. To completely isolate y, we have to divide both sides of the equation by positive 2. So on the left side we have the y-intercept, or y is equal to, on the right side we have negative 6 divided by 2, so you get negative 3 as the y-intercept. Lastly, find the y-intercept and x-intercept of the line y is equal to negative 3x plus 5. Now notice that this equation is already in the slope-intercept form. And we know that in the slope-intercept form, the constant term, 5 in this case, is the y-intercept. For the x-intercept, since we cannot get the x-intercept from the slope-intercept form, we have to use the basic method, and which is, since x-intercept is an x value, we make y a 0 and then we solve for x. So y, again, we make that as 0 equals, we copy the right side, negative 3x plus 5. So to solve for x, we have to isolate the x term. Therefore, we can transpose this term to the left side. It becomes positive 3x is equal to 5. To completely isolate x, we have to divide both sides of the equation by positive 3. So on the left side, we have x, or the x-intercept, and on the right side, we have 5 divided by 3, or 5/3. If you have any question, please leave a comment.